I mean, my story started many years ago as a traditional farmer. And it all came to fruition about 10 years ago when my sons started coming home one after the other. They all had their opportunities to travel abroad and do what they wanted. But they wanted to come home, and that was the key to the whole thing. And they wanted to stay away. It would have been fine, I would have had a pension. I would have carried on. But eldest son came home first and helped with our small tourist business. Then Murray decided to come home after a while and help with farming. And finally, Duncan wanted to come home. And I said, well, there's one farming, there's one in tourism, what is there? He said, I've got an idea. So Duncan went down his way. And then about 4.5 years ago, I think Duncan must have been in contact with Caroline to say that they had intended to go into the Monitor Farm, Agritourism thing, which I'd never heard of. I don't think many folk had at that stage. And I just thought, right, I'll go along with it, as one does. The next generation have all the ideas, now is just a traditional farmer. I'm quite happy to continue to be one. Anyway, as time went on, we started having meetings, and the first subject was succession that the boys wanted to go down with. Well, I didn't really know much about it, and I wasn't that bothered about succession at that time. But I think the boys were pushing this along with Caroline. And I must admit that looking back on it, it's been a great success. I was happy farming, and now I'm happily working for the boys, which takes all the pressure off me. And there was little point at my stage in life of continuing to make choices, to make decisions, when I wasn't going to have to live with them. And they were the ones with the bright ideas, or they had ideas anyway, and so we let it go down that road, and with the succession we had excellent advice, and we got advice down that road, valuations and legal advice, and the whole thing was such a success. And so now I'll hand over to the boys to discuss what their side of it is.
When Duncan signed us up to the Monitor Farm, I think we were all a bit sceptical about what we were going to be facing, who was going to be prying into your business, what sort of information you're going to have to share with people. I think it's easier for the younger generation, our generation, to be a bit more proactive. And certainly when Duncan suggested it, I was all for it. And so we were very lucky that we got accepted onto the Agritourism Monitor Farm. When you have people come in and look at your business and scrutinise it and tell you what's good and what's bad and where you see changes to be made, that's what I get. That's the sort of kick I get out of it. I think that's key to developing a business, is letting people look at what you've got and learning from the feedback that they give you. And that's what primarily what I got from this. I have a beef farm and a sheep farm, so I've got 110 beef suckler cows and about 650 black-faced ewes. For how long, we'll wait and see, depending on the LFAS outcome in the next few years. That is still an ongoing concern for us. I'm keen to keep that going, but at the same time, after we did the succession talk, for me that's where things sort of changed, and when we actually decided we were going to split the business up into 3, and I got the short end of the farm and the boys took the lucrative parts, I was sort of, well, but then for me it was a key drive to push my business forward. And since then, since the Agritourism Monitor Farm, oh, that's us in a nice sunny day, we decided, so this is the beef cows that we have, and the views we have across the Solway Firth, decided to utilise a piece of ground, and we've gone, myself and my wife have we now have 3 holiday cottages. So this is our new one, which we finished building this year. We're sort of aiming at the high-end market. And with views like that, it's actually, so this year alone, I think we have 4 weeks left in booking for the rest of the year. So really chuffed that that's gone. But you know, some of the advice we got in the Agritourism Monitor Farm has helped. It's certainly given me the confidence to drive forward. And then since then, we looked at other things, and we have since decided to build our own shepherd's huts. This is actually about a mile past Lagan, on another piece of ground that we rent from my in-laws, and we're utilising local joinery, so we're not buying them flat pack, we're building them from scratch, all larch, but we're aiming at the high end. We saw a gap in the market for short stay accommodation. We're aiming the high end, as I said, so you know, the joiners built them from scratch. But this is the view from up there, and so that, but we were fortunate enough as well to get leader funding, and some of you haven't. So, but we pushed hard. It did take a long time to get through the process, but we've been successful in getting sort of £45,000 leader funding towards it. I think the easy part was actually getting the funding. I'm really not enjoying the trying to claw money back. I think that's going to be the real hard part, but we have got a team in Dumfries that's helping with that. I was lucky enough to be in the rural leadership as well, which again through Scottish Enterprises has, I think, given me the confidence and the contacts as well, just to drive the business forward, not just to have a beef and sheep farm and continue sort of, you know, like the previous generations have, but it's to think outside the box and to try and just see where there's a gap in the market, which is what we're trying to do at the moment. And certainly the tourism business is going to just give us that additional income, which will support the farm industry through the tougher times. But again, Duncan's sort of come home, and you know, we're working alongside him to try and keep the hill farm going around the outdoor centre. But I shall let him fill in the rest of the gaps.
Hello everybody. Yeah, it's great to be here. So first of all, why did we take part in the process? Somebody called off sick the day that these guys were judging for the facilitators to run the monitor farm. So I was called up and said, "Can you come to a meeting in Dumfries?" And I had no idea what agritourism was. But before I knew it, I was sitting around the table and Caroline came in and was pitching to us to choose her as the facilitator. And she brought a big apple pie and put it down on the table. And since then, you know, I was blown away by Caroline's knowledge in agritourism. I understood what the benefits from the project were. I knew that it was a no-brainer for us to apply to be part of that project. And I realised that it would allow us to entice change. So just as an overview, I went back and looked at where our business was 4 years ago compared to where it was at the end of last year. And it's quite staggering. I went back to 2014 and we had 1 member of staff on our payroll, full-time. Now we've got 20 part-time and 53 part-time now. Bloody terrifying. And then you go, actually how much we paid our staff over the last year. It's 460 grand. Now that's what agritourism has done for 5 acres of hill land. It's not that we were held back by them, but it's just that I was more keen to take risks. Also, the first event we had was when everybody came and looked at our business and they all gave feedback, and I was so confident that it was all going to be positives. And actually there was more development opportunities than there were positives, and that was quite a wake-up call for us, thinking, how the hell can we get better? But actually the big thing that was, it was about stopping working in your business and start working on your business. So I did, and okay, it cost us a lot more in wages, but all of a sudden I stopped micromanaging my team and allowing my team to make their own decisions, and they grew and they felt less restricted, and that was quite an opportunity for growth as well. Being part of the Rural Leadership Programme was I think maybe it was like, yeah, part of the Rural Leadership Programme, I went on that in 2015. And that was amazing in allowing me to let go and stop being such a control freak and allowing the business to grow. Yeah, our business was solely tourism back in 2014. And again, we had that eureka moment that no matter what we did, our business was still going to be reliant on tourism in the region. And tourism in our region was always going to be seasonal. 50% of our bed stock in our region is caravan parks, and they all shut at the end of October. They all stop offering their deals and doing the marketing, so people stop coming. So we moved away from tourism, and I'll show you some pictures of that in a minute. But one of the things we did was we had part of the project was we could look at a new business idea with Caroline, and Caroline brought in a guy called Stephen Melville, who works for Lawrence Gould. And this is where my wife and myself had this idea about starting a wedding venue. And Caroline says, well, look, come up. So I went up to Fife and we sat down and we chatted about it. And we banded some numbers around and says, this could work. And Stephen created this Excel spreadsheet that I think there must be an opportunity for us to create this same Excel spreadsheet that can be used for any business, because it had your costs down one side and what it was going to cost to set up, how many staff you needed, and in the other column it was what your income could be. And it spread your income across 5 years and your costs and showed you where your profits were. I fiddled with it and dabbled with it and said, well, what if the worst case scenario it cost us 2 million in build and we only had 40 weddings and the spend per head wasn't 40 quid, but it was 20 quid. And it was a simple tool that I sat up with for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it gave us the confidence to just go ahead and do it. And that was a tool that I got from spending an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then going to the pub with Caroline. Scottish Enterprise, phenomenal support. They were one of the biggest bonuses of joining this programme. We'd never been involved with Scottish Enterprise before, but we all of a sudden started working with them, and Julian and Jackie and Joan and Julia. And all of a sudden this is a team who really get rural and they understand where we were, but most importantly they believed in me and they believed in our team and they believed in the journey that we were desperate to take our business on. And it was at a time where so many people doubted what we were doing, that to have somebody who went, you're going to do this and we'll support you in any way we can was incredible. Yeah, the most important was the bottom one, my wife. Can't forget her. But my wife gave up, so we split the business, and in 2015 my wife gave up teaching and came in. We started doing everything together. And Vicky came into the business where it was an activity centre and said, these standards aren't good enough. We have to ensure that everything is 5-star from the second you walk in. You can't have muddy boots here, and it's an activity centre. And then she helped us develop our accommodation, and she did the interiors out, as you'll see. She helped us with our wedding venue. I say she helped us, she was the driver behind it, and she's the creative. But also it gave me someone who fully understood what was happening day in, day out, and we chat about business day in, day out, and it's all of a sudden it's a real shoulder to rest your head on and thrash things out. And she loves risk like me. So we were fine. So visually, I'm going to take you a very quick story where we went. So 2014, we started the Monitor Farm project. We knew we needed to change. So 2015, we built a human slingshot. This fired people from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just over a second. And then we realised that actually our facilities weren't good enough and they weren't in the right place. So they were all down on a flat bit that had no outlook. And we realised that for a cafe, we needed people to have an outlook and they needed to be nice, so we got the kids involved and we created a brand for our cafe. Our cafe's a nightmare, by the way, it's still a nightmare, but cafes are a hard business to run. So we moved our cafe up the hill and it's got an amazing view, and then we put an extension on the cafe which also has an amazing view. And then in 2015 as well, we built this, which is our barbecue hut. And these are all ideas that all of a sudden we were being encouraged to just go with. And this is 1 kilometre from the nearest road. So Lagan Outdoors kind of down here. So we drive people up in Land Rovers to this. And it's so amazing. Our chefs will cook your dinner over this fire. There's no power, there's some lights around the sides here, and we drop you off in Land Rovers, cook for you, and then we come and pick you up 4 hours later when you're absolutely wasted. And then we didn't have accommodation, and we realised maybe accommodation was a key to what we wanted to do. And our banker actually said, you know, some of the clients we have in our portfolio have accommodation, so look at accommodation. So we built these sea view snugs. We built 10 of them. We're just about to go for planning to build another 8. And my wife did the interiors. As you can see, this is where she came in very well. I did all the septics, and she does the interiors. So everybody talks about how nice the interiors are, but no one's ever told me how well the toilet flushed. But they're all different themes. They're in the natural habitats around the land and sea around us. The penthouse suite, which has a lovely roll-top bath with a stunning view. My father has a telescope trained from his lodge down at the... that was a joke, wasn't it? It wasn't. So then we really needed to move away from tourism, and this is where we took a huge risk, and this is where we accessed funding for our first time ever. This is where Julian and some of the heads of Scottish Enterprise came and understood what we wanted to do and what we wanted to create, and we secured £300,000 worth of funding. You know, these guys put their heads on the line to say to the board, the executive leadership board of Scottish Enterprise, that what we were doing was going to be unique. It wasn't going to be create displacement. It was going to bring people in from all over the UK and international markets. So Gigi, this is Gigi, my granny, our kid's great granny, Dad's mum. She's 99. She did the zip wire for her 98th birthday. And this is her yard. Why is this her yard? Because her house is right next to it. And this was the yard 2 years ago. And this is the yard 2 years ago, yeah. Without the tree. We took the tree down before we applied for planning permission. And this is the yard now. So we really went for it. This is a £1.8 million project. Talk about taking a risk. We took a huge risk, so much so that before we spent too much, my wife and I donned our wedding clothes again from 8 years ago. I could still fit into my kilt. And we had photos taken on the beach to try and create an idea of, you know, what their weddings could be like and their photos could be like if they wanted to get married with us. So this photo and one other photo, the 2 photos, we managed to secure 35 weddings just through these photos before we had planning. So we knew that we had 35 weddings, but we had the confidence to move forward with the project. So we did, and we spent £1.5 million, and Scottish Enterprise supported us with £300,000 of funding. And it's created the most phenomenal community economic impact. It's been valued at around about £2 million a year. Our local pubs and accommodation are full every weekend. A taxi company is set up. A local pub's just put a £200,000 extension on. Weddings have become mad around us, and they're coming from all over. So 20% of our market comes from London because they see it and it's unique and they can have it, and it's just incredible. But enough for me. This is our team and some of our team. And this is our team that everybody, this is the most important part of our business. Everyone talks about these guys. We love them. They're amazing. They don't have any specific skills. They just have the right attitude, because being in a rural area, we couldn't bring everybody in that had silver service skills. We brought people in who had the right attitude. Okay, some of these are 14-year-olds. Some of them are 60-year-olds, but we brought them in. We set a standard. We brought consultants in to help us train them, and now these guys deliver for us. The second they walk out the door, the customer's blown away. The second they meet our bar team, they're blown away by their personal ability, you know, their keenness. They've gone on a journey with us, like journey, you know, they know that the risks we've taken, and they go into the risks we've taken, and so they're key to our business. So all I can say is, if you're thinking about joining the Monitor Farm programme, you have to do it. It's amazing, but you know, as long as you're willing to change and have the desire to change.